Well, I guess we're getting closer to the final moments, aren't we, Gary, when folks will be coming down to the New Hope Baptist Church to say their final goodbyes. And this morning I spoke to a friend of the Houston family who was able to share with me the details of what exactly we can expect during the service. It will open with the New Hope Mass Choir singing along with the New Jersey Mass Choir. They will be singing "The Lord is My Shepherd." Following that, Pastor Joe Carter, he will be reading a scripture. I spoke to Joe Carter earlier this week, Gary, and he told me, yes, he said, we will be acknowledging the hurt. There will be tears, but we will also be celebrating the musical life that was Whitney Houston. A solo then will be performed by Donnie McClurkin. He will be singing "Stand." That will be followed by remarks by noted filmmaker Tyler Perry, who is a friend of Whitney Houston, friend of the Houston family. That will be followed by a solo by B.B. Winans singing "Home." Then we will hear remarks by Bishop T.D. Jakes. That will be followed by a soloist, Kim Burrell. She is noted in the gospel community. I also had an opportunity to speak with her. She's been friends with Whitney Houston for 13 years. She will be singing a song called "I Believe in You and Me." Apparently that was one of Whitney Houston's favorites. That will be followed by remarks by Kevin Costner. And then we will hear from the Queen of Soul herself. She will be singing "The Greatest Love of All." That will be followed by Clive Davis, remarks from him, Whitney Houston's mentor for many, many years. Then Stevie Wonder will lend his voice. He will be singing "A Ribbon in the Sky," one of his favorites. Also, remarks by Ricky Minor, the band leader. Then a medley by Alicia Keys. Then R. Kelly will stand up and he will be singing "I Look to You." And finally, Gary, we will be hearing from members of Whitney Houston's family. We know first up will be Patricia Houston, Whitney Houston's sister-in-law, next scheduled, and the final family member to speak, scheduled to speak, Dionne Warwick. A long list of notables there. We are told, Gary, that the entire service should last a little bit more than 3 hours. It may start a little afternoon and after the noon hour, simply because 1,500 invited guests are expected there. You've got to get all those people in, get them seated. So this family friend telling me it might start a little after that. But we're coming now to the final moments when people will be coming to say their final goodbyes.
And Jason, we're looking on the other side of the screen right now as some of those 1,500 people arrive. You know, this will be a very poignant service, but it's also very elaborate. I mean, it's almost like a production that with so many different people and personalities and important music and people talking. I mean, how hard has this been to set up?
Well, you know, it's noted that this person that I spoke to was actually involved in trying to arrange some of the things that you just mentioned. And when you think of someone like a Whitney Houston, not only does she touch so many in the musical community, but there's so many in the community of Newark that knew her and wanted to share in this moment as well. So that's why you've got such a huge invite list there of some 1,500 people. But he told me that as soon as the word went out that they were invited to come and share in this moment, people were hopping on planes and rushing down just to be here and be near Whitney Houston's family and share in these final moments.
Jason Carroll, thank you for your report. We'll come back to you a little bit later. Stories from the road. Coming up next, we'll hear from Chile, from the group TLC. They toured with Whitney Houston in the 1990s. We'll hear what that was all about and what it was like. Coming up next. We go back to the New Hope Baptist Church, where my colleague Don Lemon is now standing, and he's standing with a special guest. He's standing with a man who was a very important man in Whitney Houston's life, her grade school principal. He's been there 41 years, Don, and he was brand new when Whitney Houston was like a little girl in grade school.
Yeah, it's Henry Hamilton, and he's standing here. And you said today this was a celebration of life, right? You're celebrating Whitney Houston.
You better believe it, you know. There's only one day here that the sun is shining like this. It's a beautiful day, and as I just mentioned before, the sun is shining. She's up there. She said this will be Whitney's day, and I appreciate that. Someone asked me before whether they should have it this place or that place. This is where the family wanted it. this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Right here, where she grew up singing.
I want to show this to our viewers. This is the invitation here to the homegoing ceremony.
Isn't she gorgeous?
She's beautiful on this picture,
It's
right?
always been that way.
It says, with heartfelt gratitude, the Houston family requests the honor of your presence at the homegoing service for Whitney Elizabeth Houston, the New Hope Baptist Church, 106 Sussex Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, Saturday, February 18th at 12 noon. Did you ever think in a million years when you were her principal that you would be here with this invitation doing this? I'm sure not.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And again, I'm proud the fact that I have the opportunity to be here. How many people can say that they were the principal of Whitney Houston Elementary Principal? Not too many people can say that. I'm proud of her. I brag about it, and I will continue to brag about it after today.
Yeah, there's so many people around here, and we're standing the New Hope Church principal right there that we're looking at, and you say it's fitting that it should be here and not some big venue like the Prudential Center.
I said it's up to the family. If they wanted it at a big place, okay. If they wanted it here, where she grew up singing or what have you, I will support the family.
Yeah.
And others can see it on TV. They can get the feeling on television or other times out here. It's still a positive occasion for Whitney Houston.
Yeah. In the school, when Whitney went to school there, if you can turn back this way, when Whitney went to school there, the name of the school was?
Franklin.
And now?
Whitney E. Houston Academy of Creative and Performing Arts.
That is an accomplishment.
After Nippy.
After Nippy.
Yes. Yeah. The beautiful person.
What do you guys call her Nippy? She's been called Nippy all her life, and that's what she is to her family and loved ones.
If you look at her license plate numbers, you'd be Nippy Inc. 1, Nippy Inc. 2, Nippy Inc. 3. Beautiful. Whether it's Nippy or Whitney, beautiful person.
Yeah. Your heart is heavy.
It's been heavy, it's been heavy. I've been crying over, not sleeping and what have you. But today I feel good. You know what I'm saying? You know why I feel good?
What?
So many people are recognizing the things she has done. That in itself is beautiful. They're not talking about negative things, this or that. They talk about the true Whitney.
Yeah.
And that in itself, to me, has helped me overcome the grief that I've had.
Amen, Principal. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and I don't think there even needs to be mention of that. This is of what you said, negativity. This is what we do when we send people home. We honor them, and we think about and celebrate the good times in their lives and what they meant to us and what they brought to the world and just their presence. We'll miss their presence, but we still have them in spirit. And fortunately for Whitney Houston, we'll still have her music.
You're a good announcer, and you should have been a preacher, too. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like those words.
You agree with that? Why?
Totally. Because the fact, this was Whitney. This is what people should say about people who do well, and let's continue to push for the good things of everyone.
That said, is there a lesson in this for the world?
Let's continue to strive for nothing but the best. There's a whole lot of hardships taking place all over the world, but if we accentuate the positives, I think we'll be better off as a community, as a world.
Yeah. Does this represent her, this photograph? Look, she's smiling. She looks very happy. She looks beautiful.
Vivacious, electrifying, the best. Beautiful in many ways. I have to leave now.
Yeah. So Gary Tuckman, who spoke with you earlier, he's back in Atlanta anchoring. He's got a question he wants to ask you. Go ahead, Gary.
Gary, where are you?
Don, pass on to Henry. Ask him this question, because I thought this was really amazing. Tell him to tell you the story about how modest she was, how he found out kind of haphazardly that she was a model. Ask him about that.
Her modesty. He said you told him a story about how she found out haphazardly, how you found out haphazardly that she was a model.
Yes. When she was 15, I was going down Dodge Street. She stopped me and wanted to show me her portfolio. Portfolio for what? And she had opened a book. It's all these pictures of her modeling. I said, I didn't know you were a model. And then shortly thereafter, I saw on the cover with Teddy Pendergast. And I said, well, what is this? She became a big-time singer. I never knew it. Yeah. As I told other people, Gary, her brother, was the big-time singer.
Yeah.
Think in terms of Whitney, never.
I know. You said, I missed that one. You never thought she was going to be a big-time singer.
I'm pretty good in calling it. Yeah. But Gary became the backup singer.
Yeah.
And Whitney became the greatest singer in the world. Believe me. Do you agree? Tell me somebody better.
I agree. Listen, I spoke to her voice coach, and her voice coach said, you know, some people have a great tone to their voice. They sound well. They're a good singer. Some people have the musculature to sing really loudly in a big booming voice. Whitney, and he said, an athletic singer, he called her. He said she could do it all. She could sing very softly and sound well. She could sing in the big booming voice. And when she did the national anthem, he said what she could have done everything, you know, where you go up and down the register, but there was restraint. And then the one time she sang very quietly, and then she did one athletic thing where she said in the end, the land of the free, and then she goes up, and he said that was it. She restrained herself, and not every singer can do that.
I agree.
She knew when to do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Hey,
that
Don.
was a proud moment for me and the rest of the world. I forgot about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was my Super Bowl right there.
I'm listening, Gary. Go ahead.
Yeah, Don, tell Henry one more thing that when we were at his school the other day. I mean, everyone loves him in that school. He's been there 41 years, and that man is a beloved principal, so hats off to him.
Yeah. He said, listen, you were beloved 41 years at that school. You've been there, and so hats off.
43, 41 is
Oh, Gary, he's 43. 43. So
51 years in education.
51 years in it. Thank you. Thank you,
And I'm only a
Principal.
teenager.
Here, take this invitation. We don't want.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate you. So, Gary, then as we go, of course, always the crush of media comes in, and they've been very respectful, actually, about our live shots. But there you go. That's his son over there being interviewed now. And as we've been saying, this is a homegoing, and we say it, homegoing celebration. That's what we call it, at least in the Baptist church. And that church, right over my shoulder, and people are starting to arrive there. And for those who couldn't be here, and for those who were discouraged to come here, we're going to bring you here on CNN. You can rely on me. I'm going to bring the viewers right to the very spot where Whitney Houston is being memorialized today, and we're going to do it respectfully. We're going to honor her and her family.
Don Lemon, very nice work, and that was a nice interview with Henry, the principal. Thank you very much. And Don will be back as he joins Soledad O'Brien and Piers Morgan for our special coverage of Whitney Houston's funeral. It begins 15 minutes from now, 11 o'clock Eastern. And next, coming up, we'll hear from Chile, from the group TLC. TLC toured with Whitney Houston in the 90s. We'll hear what that was like next. Whitney Houston is being remembered as many things. The voice, a diva, and of course a superstar. But how did she see herself? This is Whitney Houston in her own words.
When we started, it was about what fit with my voice, what song did. And when Clive heard me sing The Greatest Love, which was the first song he kind of like grasped onto and said, okay, that's where we're gonna go. We're gonna go, we finally got someone who can sing great ballads. So I am proud to carry that torch, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud of that.
When you're doing it, you give the best you got, you know. I worked really hard, you know, and I gave it all I had, you know, and that's all you can expect. I feel humbled. I feel blessed to have, you know, received all of these accolades. I mean, I don't know, that's the way I feel. I fell in love with a great man, and I thought, I think I'll have his baby. No, I'm only kidding. But no, I did fall in love with a great man and decided I'd like to have some kids, you know. But I don't know, I just thought maybe it'd be nice to have somebody carry me on.
It's not a comeback for me. I've been here. I've just been here. I just took a break, you know, which sometimes you have to. You have to know when to slow that train down and kind of just sit back and just relax for a minute. I just wanted time to be, for my daughter to look at my eyes and to know that I was mommy and not the lady on TV. You know what I'm saying? It was very important to me.
My mother used to always tell me, above all, to thine own self be true. And that's kind of like what I want to teach Bobby Chris, you know? Be true to herself. You can fool people, you can fool anybody, any time of the day, but you can't fool yourself. At night, when you go home, you gotta be straight up with you.
It gives you a lump in your throat when you hear her talk about Bobby Chris, who will be in that church today for the funeral service of her mother. When the music legend sold more than 170 million albums before her death. Her first came in 1985 with Arista Records. Earlier, I asked former Arista executive David Linton what it was like to work with her.
She was a joy. She was a professional and, a perfectionist. She took her craft, very seriously.